Requirements elicitation. How does a Salesforce business analyst elicit requirements? Requirements elicitation is the process of communicating and collaborating with stakeholders to assemble the insights and identify the project needs and requirements. The most common elicitation techniques are interviews, surveys, workshops, brainstorming sessions, so on. Let's discuss few of them. Interviews. Interviewing stakeholder is critical to requirement gathering since it helps understand the goals, expectations and objectives of the project. Interviewing stakeholders involves asking questions one on one, following up with more questions based on the responses. This is when you set up meetings with individuals or small groups. It will be beneficial if done in person or via live video chats. That is up to you. The key stakeholders that would usually interact with are the SMEs and the super users. If conducted well by asking the right questions, you will be able to gather relevant information. Make sure you understand what you're asking and elaborate as needed and ask the right and relevant questions. Wherever possible, try to record the conversation so that you will have a chance to replay and review later. Coming to the surveys. Surveys can be used to collect specific feedback from a large customer group. This method helps to refine and polish pre-identified requirements. Surveys are helpful to gather information and opinions from a large number of people and from diverse groups and business units across an organization. Surveys are nothing but a set of questions that you can ask and identify stakeholders groups, SMEs, and their responses are collected and analyzed to get knowledge about their interests. So the survey questions should be designed in a logical manner to ensure the needed information is obtained efficiently and effectively. And conducting workshops. Workshop is an event attended by the key stakeholders for a particular period of time. They are used by business analysts to bring stakeholders together and work together to achieve a goal. A workshop can be held for different reasons like planning, analysis, design, requirement elicitation, etc. So the requirement workshops, if designed and structured, collaborative sessions can be involved with the client and the end user contributing to the design and development of the product could be grouped by various product owners. The requirement workshop is one of the most effective ways of eliciting requirements when the proposed solution is complex and involves many stakeholders and system owners. The requirement workshop is a faster and qualitative method. It helps the stakeholders to conduct a systematic session in formal setting where every stakeholder is scheduled, provided the agenda, and assigned based on their roles or responsibilities. The session will include the facilitator plans and a scribe is appointed to a document every data related to the discussion for the future reference. A scribe is someone who will document data in the discussions, and facilitator is the one who plans and supports the materials for the elicitation. So the complete requirements elicitation activity is more than one workshop and may be needed to collaborate with all the stakeholders. There may be many sessions and may be required to prioritize and model. And signing them off in a formalized structure is very important. So this formal workshop helps to define current state and future state and bringing most of the stakeholders on one platform and collaborate and also confirm. It removes any misunderstandings on the requirements and helps in building the consensus. So when preparing for a workshop, the business analyst should see that they describe the aim and identify the key stakeholders and identify the facilitator and the scribe, develop an agenda and discuss the outputs and decide how the outputs will be recorded. and plan the session, invite the participants, organize the equipments and the agenda and the materials, and if necessary, perform a pre-workshop interviews with the participants. And coming to the observations as an elicitation technique, this is a beneficial way in uncovering some pain points and understanding the existing business process. In this technique, you ask the super users to walk you through their daily process, a day in a life of their daily activities. So, for example, you consider a service agent handling customer complaints, how they utilize the current system. Ask them to navigate steps to be able to access and create cases, find customer accounts, and contact information. So, by observing each step, taking notes, and asking the right questions, you will be able to understand their needs and pain points. So, make sure to observe any gaps in the flow and ask questions to find out how they handle those gaps and the pain points around them. And next, coming to the illustration technique of focus group. A focus group is a collection of the representatives of different customer groups. You can collect feedbacks about the needs, the problems, refine them, identify, and actionable requirements can be taken. Prototypes. Prototypes, as the name is suggesting, it is building small, basic models of the project. They are the models or the replicas of the existing or the future systems which are used to communicate requirements among the stakeholders. It's a powerful technique to understand features of the existing system and suggest any enhancements based on that. So, the prototyping helps with a mock up, an early sample, you can say, of a build to test the concept. It helps identify early what it should not be. So, the visualized outline proposed solution like wireframes, screen mockups, and so on are one of the types of prototypes. So another kind of prototype can be mostly finished product with most of the features and functions which are to be utilized and incorporated in the final design solution. So we can say there are different categories of prototypes. Like you can categorize as four types. The first one is handled during a requirement elicitation to understand and demonstrate the business process. The second type can be handled during the design phase, which can be demonstrated to look at and demonstrate its look and feel. The third category can be handled during the end of the design phase and start of the build phase to predict the system performance. And this prototype is for mostly the technical team to prove the technical aspects. And the fourth kind of prototype can be during the design phase to make sure that the underlying software can handle the proposed design. So next goes the interface analysis of one of the requirement elicitation techniques. The interface analysis is identifying the interfaces between the solution and other components of the system. And the next one is the document analysis, where the research conducted on the documentation serves as a starting point and enable gap analysis, and the documentation is done. And coming to the brainstorming sessions, the brainstorming is when a group of stakeholders collectively and collaboratively identify all possible ideas for the requirements. The brainstorming is best applied in a group as it draws on the experience and creativity of all the members. This method helps you when you are working on completely new functionality and no one knows exactly what they want and how they want it. So, when facilitated, we will help everyone to speak out loud and share all their knowledge. And it will help you gather a lot of information that can provide you with a better understanding of the requirements. So, these are the requirement elicitation techniques and how a Salesforce business analyst elicits those requirements.